Welcome to Monday Mornings with Michelle, the new business podcast. Whether you're kicking off your day or kickstarting your business, Michelle is going to kick your ass into next week with the essential fours: strategy, systems, support, and state of mind. Now, welcome to center stage, Michelle Nedelec.
Hey there, peeps. This is Michelle Nedelec, and I am so glad that you're with us here today because I am here with my most amazing guest, Jackie Lapin. Thank you, Jackie, for being here.
And Michelle, I always love to hang out with you, my dear. You are so fun, and you've got great stuff.
Awesome. So I know you and love you, but give our peeps a 5,000-foot view of who you are and what you're doing right now.
Well, I'm the lady you see if you want to get booked. I do radio podcast tours where I introduce authors to 9,000 radio shows and podcasts with a minimum guarantee of 30 interviews. We've been doing that for 12 years with lots of great luminaries and about 80 amazing testimonials. But let's say that you really want to get booked on all kinds of stages and you don't want to do the research. It's not any fun, is it? So we created a company called SpeakerTunity that gives you direct leads for podcasts and radio shows, live and virtual stages, virtual networking, TEDx's, and virtual summits. We've done all that research for you, and all we do is get you directly to those different contacts with these directories and then teach you how you can book yourself. Or we give you the tools to book yourself, like radio podcasts, speaker one sheets or podcast introductory sheets. And lastly, if you don't want to do it all yourself, we even have a strategic partner these days that'll do it for you. So we call ourselves SpeakerTunity the Ultimate Speaker Toolbox, and we make it really easy for you to find and get booked. And we've got some really exciting new stuff that we can talk about too as we get into this.
Nice. I love it. So for anybody that's a veteran in the speaking industry, you are definitely the go-to gal for that because you have everything. You've done the research. We all know how much that sucks. We don't want to do it. So that's awesome. And you dropped a whole ton of info bombs for somebody that may not be in the speaking world, like one sheets and podcasts and radio shows and TEDx and what the differences are and all that kind of fun stuff. I know you probably have to be sleeping under a rock to not know what a TED is right now, but we'll go over that too. But let's back up the bus a little bit because I love your story. How did you get into all of this?
Starts when I was 11 years old. And I told my parents that I was going to be a sports writer. I married my two favorite things, the Los Angeles Dodgers and writing. And I declared that. And at 20, I was at the Detroit Free Press. 21, I was at the Associated Press. 22 at the on the front pages of the LA Times, and ultimately at the Washington Post. Then I went on to have one of the two largest sports special events and cable TV PR agencies in America for 20 years with an incredible world-class client list. And I'm talking, everything from Showtime to the National Hockey League to Top Rank to Avon and Seagram's. And the last thing and of course, Toyota Motorsports, my biggest client. Of course. And the last thing I did was launch the worldwide poker phenomenon with the World Poker Tour. So I did that for about 20 years and then got a calling to write a couple of books on personal growth. On conscious creation. And the second one, Practical Conscious Creation, Daily Techniques to Manifest Your Desires, was the best spiritual book of the year at the International New Age Trade Show. So I got done with this and I realized that, wow, my heart really lay with the people that were making the world a better place. That's who I wanted to serve at this point. So I rebranded my company, Conscious Media Relations. We started doing the radio podcast tours. And then about 5 years ago, people kept saying, well, can you book me for speaking engagements? We said, we don't want to do that, but we know where they are. So why don't we tell you? And that's how SpeakerTunity was born. So it's been, I say I follow God's breadcrumbs, as the opportunities present themselves, as the demand and the need appears in the world, I say, we can fill that. That's where we should go next.
Nice. I love that. One of the things that I love about you are definitely a kind of go big or stay home kind of gal. And everything you do is like, we're going to be number one. We're just going to be number one. Yeah, that's just what we do. Oh, hey, we're not number one yet. Well, where's number one? Okay, that's what we're going to do.
Well, I think you can be number
awesome.
one when you're really the only people in your field. And that's kind of what we've done. I mean, if you were to Google, mind, body, spirit, PR, or conscious radio, or something like that, you're going to find us. So there's not a lot of competition. And the same thing with SpeakerTunity. Nobody's doing what we're doing. So it's a whole lot easier to stand out in a field when it's a field of one.
Well, maybe you just see things that other people don't see. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I call myself a serial pioneer, and that, that kind of explains it.
Absolutely, it does. So when it comes to going on stage and speaking, like the veterans, just go to Jack. I'm just going to go straight up. There is go to her website. Everything and anything you need is there. Trust me. Everything that you don't have in your repertoire, she will. You just notice it when you go to the website. It's like, oh, I need that and I need that. It's almost kind of like going through a department store and going, oh, I need that and I need that. It's awesome. It's good shopping for those of us who are veterans. So let's kind of back up the bus and talk to the newbies that are just getting into speaking as a thing. What do you recommend as kind of the first steps for them?
Well, the first thing is, our clientele is people that need to get in front of an audience to grow a business. That's the purpose to be out speaking. We're not talking about keynoters that are up there doing motivational. This is for people who need to fill a client list. So the first thing that I recommend that you do is really define your target audience and then your signature speech. What are you going to be speaking on that's important? And then we suggest that you create a speaker one sheet. And the speaker one sheet is a beautiful showcase of what you're bringing. Now, that has to define, most importantly, what is the pain that you solve for that audience? That is clearly the number one thing that any booker wants to know. And so your speaker one sheet and your proposal letter, which I'll get to in a minute, all have to speak to that. What are you bringing to this audience that's going to stop them from staying up nights with whatever problem that's plaguing them? So you want to clearly define that with a little bio and a couple of testimonials. And on the back side of your speaker one sheet, you want to not only bring your signature speech, but you might want to bring a couple of other speeches that you do either in the same area or basically just your signature speech redefined for different audiences, one for a business audience, one for a personal growth, one for a different audience. So that when you go and you send it to people, they can look at it and say, oh, that's not right for us, but that one is. And it may be the same topic or related topics within your field. So give them choice. That's really important. The next thing is you're going to want to write a proposal letter to get on stage. When you start identifying which kinds of stages you want to be on, and I'll talk to that in a minute, you need to write them a letter. And you need to write them a letter that's no longer than 6 or 7 paragraphs, which is why you have the speaker sheet that gives all the rest of the stuff, your bio, et cetera, and lots of cool stuff on it. So your proposal letter just needs to be why you think you'd be a good speaker for them, what are your credentials, and what do you talk on? And that's in a nutshell. So, and there's lots more details about that, which is why we have a training program on how to do all that. And then, then it's really finding the stages that you want to be on. And you really start with a low-hanging fruit, start with local opportunities in your marketplace. And keep in mind, everything is still in flux. Many of these things are virtual and are going to stay virtual. Some are going back to in-room and some things are hybrid. So you want to locate the place you want to speak, whether that's business meetings, whether that's associations, whether that's conferences and events. And then you want to, basically tailor your letter to whomever you're sending that to. And then find the person that's in charge and then start sending off those letters. So that's basically the process to getting yourself booked as a speaker. And for anybody that's looking at our site, right now, we really focus on meetings, venues, and associations for live and virtual events, live and virtual speaking opportunities. But in the early next year, we'll also have conferences and bigger events. So it's coming, folks. It's coming.
Nice. I love that. And you have been just an absolute resource for people. It's like, no matter what is going on, it's like people ask, well, I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that. No matter what, people come to me. If it involves speaking, I always go, oh, you got to talk to Jackie. Talk to Jackie. Have you met Jackie? You need to go talk to Jackie. And it was quite funny because I had an interview the other day with somebody and he went, do you know Jackie Lapin? I said, yes, I was just going to say, you need to talk to Jackie. And we started laughing going, oh yeah, Jackie's awesome. We love that.
Thank you.
So yes, and we will totally get into all of those resources that you have. And she's got a couple of sneak peeks for you guys. So I'm super excited about that too. So who would you say though is your favorite client? Who do you absolutely love to work with?
Well, I think it's going to be, let me give you a spectrum of them.
Yes.
It's personal growth leaders. It's coaches. It's health and wellness leaders. It's spiritual leaders. And lastly, it's entrepreneurs, but, and of course, authors. But most of those are people who need to be really out where people can see them and experience them in order to want what they're giving. So they need to build that know, like, and trust factor in a very personal way. And speaking does that. Whether it's over a Zoom like this or in a room, the more you're likely to get people to follow you, to want what you want, to build a relationship with you, is when they get a sense to experience you.
Nice. I love that. And when they're working with you, what's kind of the breadth and width of what you do with them? So are you helping them with their signature talks or identifying their audiences? Or are you just clarifying the message? Or are you just going beyond that and going, no, I'm just helping you find people?
Well,
you got to go figure that out.
We partner with lots and lots of speaker trainers. So we don't want to be in competition with them. And we're always willing to recommend great speaker trainers to you when you come to us. But we'd say our niche is just helping you get booked. From the point when you make a decision, you want to start getting on stages, to everything you need to be successfully booking yourself consistently, whether that's a training program. For example, we got a new program that teaches you how to get booked in the corporate marketplace. We have a training program on how to get yourself booked for radio shows and podcasts and videocasts. So, we cover the whole gamut. We have a product that if you want to get on our virtual summits, we'll give you a list of all the virtual summits at the very first day of every next month, and all the giveaways looking for partners, so that you can build your opt-in list, so that you can get on more summits, because some of those summits have a minimum list size. So we're looking for the pockets of areas that are going to allow you to market what you have effectively. And you may not be ready to go on virtual stages and live stages. Podcasts may be a great place for you to start. It may be a simple, easy get yourself, you really are delivering your signature speech a lot of times on a podcast. Get yourself experienced, more comfortable, then you can move up to live and virtual stages.
Nice. Love that. So you had mentioned that there are different requirements for different places, because a lot of people don't think about that. There really is it's kind of like going through a sifter, and there is a place that you fit perfectly and many other places where it's just not really a good fit. So instead of kind of looking at it as some are better or worse, what are some of the differences and the nuances that people are looking for, just kind of across the board?
You can be looking at meetings within your niche, your industry. So let's say that you want to talk to lawyers, or you want to talk to women who are entrepreneurs, or you want to be talking to healthcare professionals. You need to look at the kinds of meetings that those people attend. And if you want to do events, those conferences that group. Now you can start really simple in your market for something like service groups, your Rotaries and your Seroptimists, and in Canada, your Kin Clubs. Because many of them welcome you as a speaker, they're not particularly discerning about how great a speaker that you are. It's a really good starting place to kind of get your feet wet. It's a great place to introduce a book. So that's a really good place. But now let's say that you really have, your audience is more like, direct to consumer. So you might want to talk to moms and moms groups and parenting groups, or you might want to talk to seniors or health and wellness support groups. Or, you want to talk to people who are in your ethnic group or in your gender specification group, or so you want to look for alignments. If you are looking for spiritual, you're looking for unities and centers for spiritual living and consciousness groups. So you want to find the aligned places where your audience hangs out in order to get to. And by the way, you could be trying to book yourself in other kinds of groups, but they're not likely to even bring you in because you're not a match for their group. So, the more of a match you are for that audience, the booker will recognize that. So zero in on your right audience, and you're going to increase your booking rate.
Nice. Love that. So give us an example of one of your Cinderella stories. Any one of your clients.
Well, I just love the fact that one of our favorite speaker bookers got our regional speaker lead directories for Southern California. Now, she was coming down here because she had an event that she was going to be putting on. So in 4 days, she said she booked 15 events, came on down to Southern California, and knocked it out of the park. She got $50,000 worth of clients. She, gave away or sold, if you can, get into her conference, and, sold the thing out doing that. And was, she's one of our testimonials because she loved the process so much. And now she introduces all of her clients to us. So, it's the easiest and the fastest way to not have to do all the extra work. And the faster you get to those people, the faster you actually are getting on stages.
Nice. I love that. You must be a booker's or dream fantasy come true. That's so fantastic. Nice. So what might some of the stumbling blocks that somebody at home is thinking, oh my God, Jackie, I need you so badly?
Well, one of the things is I really would love to have access to this, but I don't have all the time to go do the booking. So we solved that this year by aligning ourselves with a new service called Book For You Virtual Assistants. So you get our directory, you take it over to them or our subscription services, and they'll do your booking for you. That's the biggest hang up that most people have. I think another one is simply the reason that people don't book themselves is I don't know where to start. And we solved that by giving a place to start, and either the training programs or just the directories. I think another factor is, where is my audience? And we've also solved that by defining the audiences for you. And we'll talk about our niche directories in a minute. I think those are some of the biggest stumbling blocks and reasons why people don't book themselves. And here's the biggest one. A lot of people know they need to do this, but they don't book the time in their schedule. They say, I'm going to get to it sometime this week. And that's just not going to happen. They've got client commitments, they've got family commitments, they've got all these other kinds of things on their plate. They don't get to it. So here's what I tell people to do. You actually have to book 3 hours a week in your calendar. Block it off as if you were having an appointment with somebody else. Commit that time to doing your own booking. So if you don't want to hire somebody to do it and you're going to be the one to do it, just dedicate that time every week to booking, and you will have a steady flow of speaking opportunities.
Nice. I love that. And as soon as you don't have 3 hours in your week to book, well, guess what? Then that's when you hire somebody out and they go do it for you. So you still have the clients coming in, but you're not spending the time on the admin of it.
Right.
Nice. That is awesome. So I know that our listeners are going to want more from you. So how would they begin their journey with you?
Well, there's a couple, you go to SpeakerTunity.com and there's a whole array, but I really want to talk to a couple of really exciting new products. So our regional speaker lead directories have in them up to 2,000 or 3,000 speaker leads. And they come in these 4 categories: business, subdivided into 50 industries, industries, ethnicities, and gender. And that's about 75% of the directory. Then all the places that you go for service groups. Then all the places you talk to the consumer, like I talked about, moms groups, parenting, seniors, health and wellness, LGBT, military, et cetera, and bookstores if you're doing a book tour. And then lastly, spiritual, Unity, Centers for Spiritual Living, comes all in one directory. And you can actually get bundles. So if you want the 3 in Canada, or the 4 in Florida, or the 3 in Southern California, you get the entire array of areas. Now, let's say that you don't want to do all of that. You just want to speak to your own niche, women's business owners, or entrepreneurs, or real estate people, or whatever it might be, or spiritual centers, health and wellness support groups. You can just go over to SpeakerTunity Speaker Specialties and get all the contacts at meetings and venues associations across North America just in your niche. And let's say all North America is too much for you. You can just get them in East, West, Midwest, South, or Canada. Just pick your region and we'll narrow it down for you. But what we've done essentially is made it so easy for you to zero in, either if you on a regional basis or on a niche basis, the meetings that are live and or virtual anywhere. So you on the notes here, you're going to be giving people the direct link to get to the SpeakerTunity directories. Now, that's what I'm really excited about, and what I'm really encouraging people to come over and investigate. We love you to do that. But I also have something free that I just want to give all the folks here that are listening. So, you know, when you go to get on stages, not every stage lets you actually sell or make an offer or enroll from the stage. So you've got to have a great freebie. And frankly, I like to do both. When I present, I give a freebie and I give the offer. But you have to give something that's really irresistible to get people into your community, so you can start the dialogue with them that builds a relationship that they buy from you. So if you think that only an ebook or a private consultation is what you have to offer as a lead gen tool, you are so wrong. There are so many other cool things that you can actually offer. So I've assembled them all into a book called 44 Ways to Seduce Your Next Client from Stage, Podcasts, Radio Shows, Virtual Summits, and Virtual Networking. So it's a fabulous tool, opens your eyes, you'll have a lot of fun with it, and I'll bet you'll come away with at least one good idea. So Michelle will also have the link for that in the show notes.
Nice, I love that. And we are totally going to have to talk more about how to seduce your audience from the stage in the Little Blue Pill for Business. So you're coming back to the show. So peeps, if you're loving Jackie, you can do that as well. That is fantastic. Thank you. Because I know so many people have an issue with that. They're like, well, I just do one-on-one coaching. So there's no real kind of thing in between, or I just do my service and it's, full bore. We either do it or we don't. So what's my free thing? And they're struggling so hard to figure out what a valuable opt-in might be for their audience. So give us a little kind of a hint, just a little inkling of what might make something important to the audience when it comes to thinking about their the ways that you can seduce them.
So consider a video series of 10 tips.
Ooh.
So they get one every single day for 10 days before you actually drop them into the offer. But man, and they're short, and they're looking forward to it. And you're telling them the next one's coming tomorrow. So that's a really fun way to do it.
Nice. I love that, because most speakers can get in front of a camera and do something a lot easier than they can sit down on a piece of paper in front of Canva or something and try and make something pretty or delightful. And, when it just comes to tricks and tips, that they have those, it just doesn't necessarily, it's not part of their program. So that is awesome. I love that idea. That is gold right there. People, go and do that. Awesome. So I have to ask you this, Jackie, at what point in life did you know that you were a special kind of crazy enough to think that you could become an entrepreneur?
Oh God, almost from day one. I've only worked for other people for 4 years of my whole life. And I'm, I'm way older than you think I am.
22.
For me, it was in my blood. My father was an entrepreneur, and I chafed at working for other people from day one. And while I wanted to be a sports writer, and I succeeded at that, it really wasn't where I was happy. I didn't want to be going to ball games every night. I was a feature writer. I loved writing about people. I didn't want to be going to ball games every night. I love the idea of creating. And so for me, entrepreneurship is just a matter of creation. So I'm just always creating, and that's when I'm happiest. So it's just an extension of my ability as a writer to create something that will serve people. And then, hey, you want to give me money for it? I'll take it.
That's awesome. I love that. I love you. You are awesome. I love your energy. You're so much fun, and being able to just sit there and pick your brains for hours would be a delight, but I won't do that to you, I promise. So thank you so much for being here with us today. And I know your time is valuable. We appreciate it. So any last words for our peeps?
Don't hide your light under a bushel. If you have something that changes people's lives, you are robbing the world if you do not get out and speak. Get out and deliver your message to people, engage them, give them value so that they want more value from you.
Nice. And if you ever question what that might be, go and talk to Jackie. She will just draw it out of you in a just beautiful, lovely way. And you're like, oh my God, I totally have to do this. So yes, absolutely. Go into the show notes. If you're driving right now, go to awarenessstrategies.com/blogs and search for Jackie or SpeakerTunity or Speaking Opportunities. You will find her in there as well. Awesome. So thank you again, Jackie. And thank you for being here with us today. This is Michelle Nedelec. Thank you for being here with us today. If you know anyone who would make a great guest for the show, or if you have a question or topic you'd like me to discuss, reach out to me at michelle@awarenessstrategies.com or connect with me on LinkedIn or Facebook. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for listening to our show. I am all about being a resource center for entrepreneurs to give them the information and the support that they need to make it in business. As such, I have Taking Your Business Digital Q&A every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Mountain. To register for that, go to awarenessstrategies.com/digital. That's DIGITAL. I look forward to meeting you and actually finding out how you are. So see you on the flip side.